you reckon about this, Sean? Gervonta Davis tucking up behind his guard. Jake Paul just hammering shots into his forearms and arms. You know how Canelo breaks his own weight class opponents?
We got Montana Love and Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. I think it's great. I think it's funny. I'm the underdog for this fight. And, that excites me even more again to go and prove everybody wrong, including Cardi B. But I'll probably be offsetting her bank account.
MMA guru and SUGA Sean just dropped a prediction that's about to set the entire boxing world on fire. In their recent video, SUGA and MMA guru completely flipped the narrative on this matchup. SUGA went as far as saying Tank Davis will look small next to Jake Paul, almost like a dwarf in comparison. And MMA guru backed that stance, boldly claiming that Jake Paul won't just beat Tank, he'll bust him up and hammer him badly. According to both of them, this matchup could turn into a nightmare for Tank Davis, simply because he'll be walking into the power of a much bigger, heavier, and stronger Jake Paul.
So I think they're real fights. I think this is a real fight. I don't think Gervonta Davis would be paid enough to take a dive and tarnish his legacy forever. But I do think Jake Paul's gonna bust him up. He's a big dude, old Jake Paul. Not too big, but he's a big guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm so curious how much, dude. I've been around Jake. He's bigger than people think, I feel like. And Gervonta, I've never been around him, but I would assume he's smaller than people. He just seems like a little dude, like one of those. He seems like a Kiwan. Yeah. Like Danny Duncan's little buddy Kiwan.
MMA guru and SUGA even laid out a scenario that they believe could be a serious problem for Tank Davis. MMA guru pointed out that Jake Paul has developed a habit of hammering heavy shots into his opponent's forearms and guard, similar to what Canelo does to break down defenses. SUGA agreed, saying Tank does rely on that tight forearm guard, but against a much bigger puncher like Jake, those shots are going to hurt. Over time, Jake could crack that guard, punch it over, and start landing clean head shots, leaving Tank with less to fire back and with fewer defensive options as the fight goes on.
What do you reckon about this, Sean? Gervonta Davis tucking up behind his guard. Jake Paul just hammering shots into his forearms and arms. You know how Canelo breaks his own weight class opponents' forearms and arms and bruises him up and shit? I just think Jake don't even have to worry about, let me land it clean. Just wail on his forearms until he can't throw shit back, and then bang. He's going to take over, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, Gervonta does have that high guard. Jake, that's a good point. Jake could punch right into the guard and do damage to the arms and probably still do damage to the head, even with, dude, Jake's a big guy. I think they're wearing 10-ounce gloves. Which is that's not a lot. That's not a very big glove. I've pro boxed with an 8-ounce glove, and it's not much different than a UFC glove.
MMA guru and SUGA had already painted a wild prediction about how this fight could go. They weren't holding back. They believed Jake Paul's size, pressure, and physical presence alone could change everything once that bell rings. But now, new developments have added even more layers to the situation. Layers that make the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis feel even more intense, unpredictable, and dangerous than it already did. It turns out, Jake Paul hasn't been sitting back just relying on his power. He's been planning, he's been preparing, he's been adjusting every detail of his training to match what he thinks will be needed on fight night. And recently, Jake Paul revealed something that caught the entire combat sports world by surprise. He revealed a secret weapon, something he believes is going to shift the odds in his favor.
Ooh, yeah. Bro, what are you doing?
Training for the fight. But also celebrating Oktoberfest at Doghouse. Slip inside, uppercut. Oh yeah.
Jake Paul has brought Shakur Stevenson into his training camp, not just as a guest, not just for a couple of light rounds, but as an active, important piece of the preparation process. Paul said his goal was to train alongside fighters who've been doing this their entire lives, fighters who know how to move, how to think, and how to react under pressure, as well as how to control the rhythm of a fight.
And Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week, so just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives.
Paul mentioned that Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love would be in the gym with him. These are not influencers, these are not creators, these are professional boxers of the highest level. World-class fighters who have been molded into traditional boxing culture. This is not the kind of preparation people expected from Jake Paul.
Yeah, no, we have world champions, Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class.
He made it clear he wanted to train with people who understand how to handle speed, not just how to throw heavy punches. Paul explained that this time the focus is on being quick, really quick. He said he's cutting down muscle intentionally. He's not lifting heavy, he's not trying to look bigger, he wants less weight on his frame so his punches can fire faster and smoother. That alone changes everything we thought about his approach.
So we got Montana Love and Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives, but we're really focusing on speed. And not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to like lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punches are coming off faster.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is known for speed. He's known for sudden knockout timing, explosive bursts, and quick angles. If Jake Paul tries to stand still and trade power for power, that would be dangerous. But if Jake can move quicker, snap punches with more speed, and apply pressure intelligently, the fight dynamic shifts. This is where the involvement of Shakur Stevenson becomes even more interesting. Stevenson has a history with Tank, not just competitive history, but emotional and personal tension. They've gone back and forth for years. Stevenson knows Tank's habits, his rhythm, his setups, and his triggers. They've studied each other deeply, even without ever having fought.
Can you blame a man for taking that opportunity? Because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So, as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
Fighter with my integrity.
So, when Stevenson said he was down to help Jake Paul, it wasn't just about sparring, it was about knowledge. It was about mindset. It was about walking into the fight understanding the micro details of Tank's approach.
Like for me, I never let myself go there. I'm a fierce competitor, and always need to have the W and come out on top. And also shock the world and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
Stevenson even teased Davis fans online, knowing it would annoy them. And it did. The internet turned into debates instantly. Some people saw it as betrayal, others saw it as a strategy. But the important part is this. Shakur has something Tank's team cannot ignore. He knows how Tank thinks, and Jake Paul is training with that information in mind. Stevenson took note of the comments and wrote on X, "Fire. Get a chance to pick a great business mind brain and help give some game in the process. I'm down." Now combine this with what MMA Guru and SUGA were already pointing out. They had emphasized that Jake Paul is extremely good at attacking the guard, cracking the forearms, breaking the defensive frame, and slowly pushing the shell, similar to how Canelo Alvarez breaks down his opponents.
This workout's fueled by Celsius, baby.
MMA Guru described a scenario where Jake Paul is hammering Tank's arms, elbows, and gloves with raw force. Over time, that kind of pressure hurts. It drains the arms, it weakens the ability to counter. SUGA supported that idea, saying Tank does rely on that tight forearm guard, but that against someone bigger and heavier, that guard could start collapsing. Now, with Jake training to be faster, not just stronger, the threat isn't just power shots, it's volume. It's pace, it's constant work. And if Tank is forced to guard more than he's used to, his opportunities to fire back will shrink. This is where the fight could get very uncomfortable for him.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro, and so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
And it's not just fans noticing, the betting world has been shaken up too. Cardi B. Yes, the global music artist placed a massive wager on the fight. She put down $250,000 in USDT on a combination bet involving both this fight and the UFC Heavyweight Championship. If she picks land, she stands to make nearly $500,000. That's not just a playful bet, that's serious money and serious confidence from someone with influence. Whether she picked Jake or Tank doesn't even matter as much as what it represents. The fight has captured attention well outside the boxing world. Everyone is watching.
Well, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably, in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspen all over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially facing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know.
I saw it on one of the MMA sites, so I'm assuming it's true.
But the story doesn't end there. Paul revealed something else during an interview, something that sent excitement and intensity skyrocketing. There is reportedly a knockout bonus built into the contract, and not just a small one, a 6-figure bonus. Meaning if this fight ends in a knockout or TKO, someone gets paid big.
No, correct. There's going to be a winner, and the only reason it had to be an exhibition is just because of the weight.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's a winner, and there's I don't know if I can say it, but there's like a big knockout bonus.
Okay.
So if someone knocks the other one out, they're gonna get a big bonus.
What about, does TKO count?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think my prediction was that you make him quit.
I think I'm gonna get in his head. He's pretty mentally weak in the ring. You know, as soon as things don't start going his way,
yeah,
he starts to crumble, and things aren't gonna go his way. So I think he's gonna crumble.
Yeah.
This turns the fight from a friendly exhibition into something far more real. When there is knockout money on the line, everything changes. The pressure, the risks, the pace, the mentality inside the ring, and this means both fighters now have reasons to go for the finish, not just to survive the rounds.
Really just a higher level of IQ and not making any mistakes, because this guy is a very tactical, sharp thinker.
Yeah.
And so being alert at all times and not letting up at any moment or letting anything slip through. Really sharp defense, always reacting off of my punches and being ready for them to counter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are obviously counter punching, which is what Gervonta is going to do. So throwing, expecting a counter, throwing again, expecting a counter, and longer exchanges and things like that.
And if both men start chasing a finish, the chance of something dramatic happening goes way up. On one side we have Jake Paul getting faster, dropping muscle weight, studying Tank through Shakur, training combinations and preparing to break down Tank's guard piece by piece. On the other side, we have Tank Davis. Still the sharper counterpuncher, still the more experienced boxer, still the man who can change a fight with one perfectly timed punch. That's what makes this matchup terrifying. Because if Jake is wrong, if he gets too aggressive, too confident, too reckless, Tank could put him to sleep instantly. Tank has done that to world-class opponents. One window, one angle, one shot, lights out.
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, I think it's funny. I'm the underdog for this fight, and you know that excites me even more again to go and prove everybody wrong, including Cardi B. But I'll probably be offsetting her bank account.
At the end of the day, this isn't just another boxing match, this is pride, power, legacy, and shock value all thrown into one ring. Someone is walking out of that arena with a moment that will echo across the entire combat sports world, and someone is going to have to live with the silence that follows.
Good work. That last one. Let's go. Oh my gosh. You good, bro?
But now the real question goes to you. Who do you believe has the advantage here? Is it the raw knockout timing and championship experience of Gervonta Tank Davis? Or the size, power, pressure, and now strategic intelligence of Jake Paul? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is just getting started. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you never miss a breakdown. This is Ring Rivalry, where passion meets combat, and if you love the fight game, you're in the right place.